Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'm with the big bad utility company, and hopefully I can change some of that perception. National Grid has participated in this event in the past, strictly on a technical standpoint. What documents do you have to fill out? What applications are there? What are our specifications? All that great thing. We have a much bigger message to convey today in that regard as far as community solar is concerned. Some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today, but just to kind of start, who is National Grid? We are a very large utility company. We are based in London, but about half of our business is in the UK, the other half is in the US. If you look at the map on the side, I wanted to share this with you. That is our footprint for National Grid US. Bear in mind that even though all of our trucks are the same, we are still operating under our old legacy operating companies. So in upstate New York, it's Niagara Mohawk. If it's in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, it's those legacy companies. Understand that there are certain things that we can do in other jurisdictions that we can't do here in New York and vice versa. So if you are dealing with National Grid in other areas, understand it's not because of lack of desire, that type of thing. We have different regulatory environments, different tariffs that we work under. New York is a huge part of National Grid's U.S. Business. We're about 60% of the U.S. revenue, and you can see here just in New York, 8,000 employees, millions of electric and gas customers, and $1 billion in annual capital investment. That's a huge number. That is going into improving our gas infrastructure, because a lot of stuff is old cast iron. A lot of it is also going into electric as well. So, some of the challenges that we're facing, we kid about this in our industry all the time. If Edison and Tesla were alive today, the way our system operates is real similar to the way it did when they were around. We currently are upgrading, and this month, converting a substation that came in service in 1929. Okay? We're upgrading a transmission system that was placed in service in 1942. The system was never designed for all of the great stuff in technology in addition to solar, but things like smart grid, smart metering, all that type of stuff. It's still pretty much designed that you make electricity in a big central generating station, you pick it up to high voltage, you wheel it across the state, you get it locally, you take it back down again, and you serve it in people's homes. It was not designed for all of the distributed generation that's being talked about. We feel that it's definitely needed, but again, it's something that we struggle, and that's part of where this $1 billion a year in investment is going towards. So there are huge opportunities here. Connect 21, that is our tagline, internal to National Grid, is what we call a lot of these initiatives. Again, building a resilient backbone for the electric infrastructure. Mitigate climate change. National Grid isn't going to debate the cause of climate change, but we definitely recognize it. The fact is that storms are happening more frequently and they're more severe. We need to address that and have our system ready for it. Drive regulatory innovation. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Embrace technical partners, all of you here in the room. The biggest thing too is to put customers in charge. What do our customers want and how do we provide that service to them? And there's a very big diversity of what customers want. Some people want fully automated homes. Some people want just the basics at a very low price. Some want to be green. So these are all things that National Grid is trying to balance. Again, just some of the things that we are here working on. I'm not going to just read through the slide for you, but place renewables really make the most sense. That's going to be the real big one. Right now, I've heard a lot of things about, well, I've got an open space over here that I can put solar in. Solar has to make sense where it's needed on our system. So, a couple of examples of the good and the bad. We'll start with the bad, okay? These are two specific projects. Large 2 megawatt facility on a farm. We kid the extension cord. They're in a place that we do not have a robust electric system. It was never designed to handle that type of installation there. It's very expensive to incorporate into our system the upgrades that need to take place. The one below is 30 kW in a school. Didn't tell us about it ahead of time, and it's on a network. And networks are mentioned earlier. There's two types of electric grids, if you will, okay? A lot of urban areas have networks. And if you kind of envision a spider web of interconnected wires that are always connected in parallel together. Sure, I can speak louder. A network for a metro area is like a spider web. All the wires are interconnected at the low voltage standpoint. It's a very complex system. The protection to make it all function properly. To put any type of distributed generation on there can trip the customers offline and cause problems. And again, one of our big concerns is delivering power in a safe and reliable manner. Okay, so again, these are types of things that we're dealing with. I'm also an account manager for colleges, and they want to do a class, and they wanted to site solar places, and they just didn't. It wasn't a conducive place to do it. I'm getting the high sign move quicker. Good projects, okay. And I'll let you read through the slide, but there are places in our territory where it's very easy to install these projects. It's very cost effective. Our interconnect costs are very low. So how do we drive projects to where they're needed the most? So the big picture. National Grid is number 5 in the country as far as solar connections is concerned. We own 20 megawatts of solar. Not in upstate New York, we're precluded to do that, mainly in our New England territory. Our concerns, 99% of our customers are paying 1% for the ones that are participating in this. And the subsidies are a really big concern. I was at a public statement hearing where a number of people were talking about, we need more solar, we need more renewables, that type of thing. I give credit to the Public Service Commission person that was running the meeting. He said, I understand that half of the room here wants green and renewables. The other half of this room can't pay their bills as is. National Grid does not have a magic checkbook. Our money comes from other customers. So to the extent that people are getting subsidies on one side, other people have to pay for it, and we have to balance all of that. Some of the challenges that we're facing. That first number up there. 2013 to 2015, we received 9,500 applications to connect to our system. Almost 10,000. We have to review all of those. It's not a lack of desire to play in this environment. We are just inundated with applications, and it's a real challenge for us to get to these and review them. It's a stress on our engineering time. The other thing too is multiple projects in one feeder. If we've got a feeder out there that's going out and we've got a half dozen applications, how do all of those interact with one another? And how is that those burdens paid? Are all of them going to come online? So future distributed system implementation plan. Right now, National Grid has got 5-year plans of our investment, where we're going to do things. That has not been readily available to the public. So what this initiative is to make this more public and on a very micro level, distribution circuits themselves. A lot of you are probably familiar with demand response programs. They're very global. It's all of New York State. We actually piloted recently demand response programs on individual substations and individual feeders. Where do we have the need? This plan here is outside third parties can see where does National Grid need additional resources. So that third parties can come to us and propose projects, and it might be something that we don't make more investment in our infrastructure. We partner with one of you out here to meet needs of customers going forward. Large-scale renewables, our governor's objectives, we are not going to make it with these little small projects. They're great, they're part of the mix, but we are going to need large-scale renewables out there. We would like to play in that environment. Right now, National Grid is precluded from doing that, and we feel that we can best deliver on some of these goals that the state has. Power purchase agreements down here at the bottom. They scare the heck out of utility companies. Part of the reason why my business card says National Grid and not Niagara Mohawk is well-intentioned but bad public policy from the 1980s. So it's a 6-cent law. People could put cogeneration facilities in the local utility. Niagara Mohawk had to buy it at 6 cents a kilowatt hour, above market power purchase agreement. We were inundated with these applications that drove Niagara Mohawk essentially to the brink of bankruptcy. Okay? I was living in an environment where our utility prices were going up 10 to 15% each year. I mean, it's not sustainable. Customers were leaving, businesses were going. We were very sensitive that every time that we would go to a business meeting, energy was one of the top 5, if not the top 5 reason they didn't like doing business in New York State. We have finally paid off roughly $5 billion of that bad public policy from the 80s within the past 5 years. Our delivery rates dropped significantly. Now when we go to these business meetings, we now poke one another and go, we're not on the list anymore, okay? So while PPAs are probably going to be part of the mix, and that's the current model, we have to be very careful. What makes sense today might not make sense 5, 10, 20 years down the road. I do want to talk real quick about one of our projects that we're doing through REV in Buffalo. It's called the Fruit Belt. At first I was going, were there orchards there? What is this? It's a part of Buffalo where the streets are named after fruit trees. Okay? It's an economically challenged neighborhood, and we're going to develop community solar in that area, but it's a different model. The solar panels are going to be on the utility side of the meter, so it's not going to be the net metering that you're thinking about today. We're also looking at a very holistic approach. The buildings are going to be screened, the homes are going to be screened for environmental concerns, asbestos and lead, from an energy efficiency standpoint, to make sure that they're energy efficient as best as possible. Structurally, can they handle solar panels? The goal is to get out of a pool of, let's say, 500 homes, to whittle it down to 100, and install the solar on those 100 homes, but figure out how does the greater community, all the residents in that area, benefit from it. Now, part of these pilot projects is we don't have all the answers. That's why they're pilots. But that is one of the things that National Grid is working on, as to how do we deliver community solar. Thank you very much.